All right, hello everybody. We are starting our next section in our surface area and volume chapter. Today we're going to be looking at the area of circles and how to find the area of sectors. And this is kind of our last section, looking at area just in general. Tomorrow or the next couple lessons we're going to be building upon that and adding on surface area, then to finally look at volume. All right, so today we're only going to have 2 equations versus last section where we had 6, so that's kind of nice. All right, when we are trying to find the area of the circle, our equation is pi r squared. R stands for radius. So you have to make sure a common way that problems will try to trip you up is they will provide you the diameter. And if you plug in the diameter where it should be the radius, your quantity will be extremely large versus smaller where you would just have the radius. So be cautious of that. For our first example, we have a circle with a diameter of 26 yards. My radius of my diameter is 26. That makes my radius divided in half would be 13. So if I'm trying to find the area of this circle, I will have pi times r, which is 13 squared. All right. If I'm simplify that down, 13 square, let's type that in the calculator. I can't do that off the top of my head. 169. Sometimes some problems will ask you, okay, just leave it there, but I want you to take it a step further and give me a decimal number. So how do you type pi into your calculator if you do not know? Let's take a quick look at that. On your TI-84 calculator, in order to type in pi, you will click the second button. Then you will click this kind of caret. So it's a second form of pi. Now that you have pi typed in, you can hit the multiplication sign. Oh, we are there. Times 169. So pi times 169 gives me 530.9. Let's round to the hundredth. 3. I got 0.92915, but I rounded that up to 0.93. And then my units, we are using area, so they're going to be squared, so it would be square yards. Right. So my final answer will be 530.93 yards squared. All right, let's look over here at my second problem. Here, I am trying to find the area of this semicircle. It is half of a circle. So therefore, when I use my area, I'm going to have to multiply it by 1/2 or divide it by 2. So if I wanted to plug in already here for a semicircle, I could write 1/2 pi of r, which is 17 squared, if I wanted to simplify it that way. 17 squared gives me 289 pi 1/2. I'm going to divide 289 by 2 to kind of get rid of that fraction. So I get 144.5. And I'm going to multiply that by pi, so I'll hit second, and then the caret sign, and that will give me an area of 453.96 feet squared. There we have it. Area's not too shabby. A lot of plugging and chugging. All right, so let's look at a sector. What is a sector? A sector is commonly referred to as a pizza slice. It's a section of that circle bounded by a central angle, or however much measure that section's taking up. It's that inner angle where the tip of your pizza slice is, and its intercepted arc. The arc is going to be where your pizza crust is. So if I'm wanting to find the area of a particular section or a sector, I am going to use this following formula. So I will have area equals x, x being that central angle value, multiplied by pi times r squared. So my formula, this is my area formula for a circle. And then I'm going to divide it by 360. So if you think about it, you look here, this is kind of like a fraction. It's showing you the fraction of the circle that it's taking up multiplied by your area formula. So let's try and plug and chug and look at this. So if I'm wanting to try to find the area of the shaded section, I'm going to have x is 51. It's my central angle multiplied by pi. R is 16. That is my radius squared. All divided by 360. For these problems, if you want to just plug it into your calculator and get an answer right away, I'm fine with that. If you want to take it step by step, that works as well. So if I'm going to simplify it down, 51 times pi, 16 times 16, or 16 squared, gives me 256 divided by 360. Here is where I would probably just plug it in my calculator and just get my final answer. So 256 times pi times 51 divided by 360 gives me a final answer of 113.935, so that will round up to 4. So my area of just that section is going to be 113.94 feet squared. I apologize for my sister in the background yelling because she is having quote-unquote virtual sleepovers with her friends, and they are dyeing their hair with Crayola marker. So you can only imagine how that's going. Okay? We love quarantine. Yay! Okay, let's look at another sector example. Whew. Apparently, washable Crayola marker comes out of your hair. We will see tomorrow. If you see a house on fire, that's my parents yelling at my sister. Okay, here we want to find the area of the shaded sector. And you're going to round to the nearest 100th, or nearest 100th place. I have our equation up there at the top. X times pi r squared divided by 360. Looking at my figure, I need to figure out what are my variables. What quantities do I have? Do I have x? Well, it gives me the central angle of the non-shaded part. That's not x. That's another angle within my circle. But I can use that to find my shaded part. The measure of a whole circle is 360. I'm going to subtract 126, which gives me 234 degrees. That's my x value. So now that I have that, I can plug and chug. A is equal to 234 times pi times 13 squared. 13 times 13, which we did that in another, I almost forgot my divide by 360. Woo, that was a close one. 13 times 13 is 169, so I have 234 times pi times 169 divided by 360. 169 times 234 gives me 39,000 times pi gives me a real big number divided by 360, and my final answer is 345.10 yards squared, and that is the area, the amount of space that section in the circle is taking up. All right, last problem. This is the last type of sector problem you will see where it's like, hey, what is the area of all of these different sections? Yes, you could do and use the sector equation and find the area of each component, each part. However, because it's the same circle, we can just add up our central angle of all of those sections. So looking at this half over here, what is 1/2 of the circle out of 360? 180. So for my central angle value, I'm going to add 180 and 58. When I add those, I get 238. That's my central angle value. That's my x value. All right, so area is equal to 238 times pi times r my radius is going to be, well, actually, it gave me my diameter, 10, JM is 10, so divided by 2 gives me 5. 5 squared, well, what's 5 squared? 25. So 238 times pi times 25 divided by 360. Okay. So plug and chug. 238 times pi times 25 divided by 360. My final answer for my area is going to be 51.92. Yeah, 51.92. Let me double check that, make sure I plug that into my calculator right. Times 25 times pi divided by 360. Yes, 51.92. And then my units is millimeters squared. Okay. That is all I have for you today. So today we looked at our 2 equations for area of a circle, area of a sector. Check the agenda on RenWeb to see what your next activity is. We are going to have a short quiz over these area formulas coming up, and I'll talk about that more within the agenda videos. So make sure you are watching those. Have a great day, guys.